How safe do you feel when you board an airplane? Have you ever wondered what measures are in place to ensure your safety during the flight? Let's dive into the world of aviation safety, an intricate ecosystem that operates behind the scenes each time you take to the skies. The focus of aviation safety is to minimize risks associated with flying, safeguarding not only you, the passenger, but also the diligent crew that guides you to your destination. Airlines and regulatory bodies work hand in glove to uphold safety standards, deploying a range of measures from rigorous maintenance checks on aircraft to stringent operational procedures. As part of this safety net, there are strict regulations governing everything from the construction of the aircraft to the training of crew members. And speaking of crew members, let's turn our attention to the key figures in aviation safety: the pilots. Pilots shoulder a mammoth responsibility, navigating complex machinery across vast skies while managing a myriad of variables. Their role in maintaining safety simply cannot be overstated. However, like any human, pilots face challenges too, one of the most significant being fatigue. Fatigue is a silent adversary in aviation safety. It slowly creeps up, impairing decision-making and reducing reaction times. To combat this, regulations are in place to manage pilots' workload and ensure they get the necessary rest. This is crucial to maintaining their alertness and performance, and by extension, the safety of the flight. However, even with these measures, violations do occur, as in the case of Air India, which was fined by the Directorate General of Civil Aviation for flouting flight duty time limitation regulations. But more on that later. For now, let's reflect on the fact that aviation safety is not a matter of chance. It's a meticulously crafted system that prioritizes your safety above all. It's the result of relentless efforts from multiple stakeholders, including pilots, airlines, and regulatory bodies, all playing their part to ensure you reach your destination safely. As we can see, aviation safety is a complex issue that involves multiple stakeholders, including pilots, airlines, and regulatory bodies. One of the key measures to manage pilot fatigue and ensure safety is the flight duty time limitation. But what exactly is FDTL? To put it simply, flight duty time limitation, or FDTL, is a set of regulations designed to manage the amount of time a pilot can fly and work. These guidelines are crucial in preventing excessive fatigue among pilots, which can impact their performance, leading to potential safety risks. So, how does FDTL work? The regulations limit the number of hours a pilot can be on duty in a day, a week, a month, and a year. These restrictions also take into account the time of day, the number of takeoffs and landings, and the number of time zones crossed. The aim is to ensure that pilots have adequate rest and recovery time between flights, reducing the risk of fatigue. Now, you might be wondering, what happens if these regulations are violated? Well, the consequences can be quite severe, both for pilots and airlines. For pilots, exceeding duty time limits can lead to fatigue, affecting their ability to operate an aircraft safely and efficiently. It can also have long-term health implications, including sleep disorders and stress-related conditions. For airlines, failing to comply with FDTL regulations can result in hefty penalties, as was the case with Air India, which was fined 80 lakh rupees by the Directorate General of Civil Aviation for violations. These penalties are not just financial, they can also damage an airline's reputation, affecting customer trust and loyalty. But the most significant consequence of violating FDTL regulations is the potential risk to aviation safety. Fatigued pilots are more likely to make errors, which can lead to accidents. This is why enforcing and adhering to these regulations is so important. FDTL regulations are an essential part of managing pilot fatigue and maintaining aviation safety. However, these regulations are only effective if they are strictly adhered to. So, it's crucial for all players in the aviation industry to understand and respect the role of FDTL in ensuring our skies remain safe. Recently, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation imposed a hefty fine on Air India for violations of the FDTL regulations. This incident isn't just another news headline, but a significant moment in aviation history that brings to the forefront the critical issue of pilot fatigue. The DGCA, India's aviation regulatory body, has slapped Air India with a fine of 80 lakh rupees. Yes, you heard it right, 80 lakh rupees. This significant penalty comes as a result of the national carrier's violations of the Flight Duty Time Limitation Regulations, or FDTL for short. So what exactly did Air India do to deserve such a hefty fine? Well, it seems that the airline had been playing fast and loose with the FDTL regulations. These rules are put in place to manage pilot fatigue, a critical factor in ensuring aviation safety. By not adhering to these regulations, Air India put not just its pilots but also its passengers and crew at risk. The FDTL regulations are not merely guidelines but mandatory rules that airlines must follow. They dictate the number of hours a pilot can fly, the rest periods required between flights, and the maximum duty period permissible in a day. By violating these regulations, Air India demonstrated a disregard for these critical safety measures. This isn't an issue to be taken lightly. Pilot fatigue can lead to impaired performance, slower reaction times, and in the worst case, can result in aviation accidents. It's not just about the physical toll it takes on the pilots, but the potential danger it poses to passengers and crew. This hefty fine on Air India is not just about penalizing the airline for its mistakes, but it also serves as a wake-up call to the entire aviation industry. It underscores the seriousness with which regulatory bodies view violations of FDTL regulations. It's a clear message that compromising on pilot rest and fatigue management is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. But beyond the fine, this incident also highlights the need for airlines to prioritize the well-being of their pilots. Airlines must ensure that their scheduling practices respect FDTL regulations and provide their pilots with adequate rest periods. After all, a well-rested pilot is a safer pilot. This incident serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of violating FDTL regulations and the importance of managing pilot fatigue. It's a call to action for all airlines to uphold the highest standards of aviation safety, not just to avoid penalties, but more importantly, to ensure the safety and well-being of their pilots and passengers. Pilot fatigue is a serious issue that can have dire consequences if not properly managed. But how can this be achieved? When it comes to aviation safety, managing pilot fatigue is a key component that can't be overlooked. Pilots are entrusted with the lives of hundreds of passengers, and a lapse in alertness due to fatigue could result in a catastrophic event. So, let's delve into the importance of rest and fatigue management for pilots and the strategies used to maintain safety. Firstly, adequate rest is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Pilots need to be well rested to ensure that they're alert, focused, and capable of making critical decisions. This involves more than just a good night's sleep. It's about having sufficient time between flights to recover, both physically and mentally. This is where proper scheduling comes into play. Flight schedules should be designed to allow pilots ample rest periods, taking into account the number of flight hours, the complexity of the flights, and the time zones crossed. This isn't just about meeting regulations, it's about ensuring pilots are at their best when they're in the cockpit. Secondly, fatigue risk management systems, or FRMs, are increasingly being used in the aviation industry. These systems use scientific research and data to identify and mitigate fatigue risks. They take into account factors like workload, sleep patterns, and circadian rhythms to provide personalized fatigue management strategies. The use of these systems demonstrates a proactive approach to managing fatigue, emphasizing the importance of prevention rather than reaction. It's about identifying potential fatigue risks before they become a problem and implementing strategies to minimize them. Finally, it's crucial to foster a culture of safety within the aviation industry. This means creating an environment where the importance of rest is recognized and prioritized. It's about acknowledging that pilots, like everyone else, have limits and need to take care of their health and well-being. In conclusion, managing pilot fatigue is not just about adhering to regulations, it's about creating a culture of safety where the health and well-being of pilots are prioritized. In conclusion, the recent fine imposed on Air India by the DGCA underscores the importance of FDTL regulations and aviation safety. We've delved into the critical role that aviation safety plays in our world today and how the flight duty time limitation regulations ensure the well-being of pilots and passengers alike. The hefty fine of 80 lakh rupees on Air India, a stark reminder of the consequences of violating these regulations, emphasizes the necessity of rest and fatigue management for pilots. It's a clear indication that safety is not a mere option, but a non-negotiable requirement in aviation. We encourage everyone to stay informed about these issues and to prioritize safety when choosing airlines. It's not just about reaching our destinations, it's about ensuring we do so safely. Remember, when it comes to aviation, safety should always be the #1 priority. Thank you for joining us today, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our content to keep supporting us.